Hey everyone, this is the Atari 8-bit Game Hunter. This is going to be my video for my video game room itself. Show you guys a couple of the updates I've had in the last couple of weeks. I know my last video was on the 22nd and today's the 27th, thereabouts. And even in those 5 days I really pulled this room together quite nicely. And I'm just going to do a quick pan around and then I'm going to talk about a couple of the unique items, a couple add-ons, and a couple items I'm using to actually put the whole room together itself. It's not perfect. It's not complete yet. It's about maybe 75% done, maybe. My big problem now is just going to be going out there and finding the games. A problem that most video gamers do not have a problem in having. Something they usually enjoy doing because that means they get to go out, spend money, go hunting, and reliving your childhood through others in a way, because you get to talk about what you've enjoyed over the years and games you may not have even heard of or have written off as pure crap, and you find out, oh, well, it wasn't really that bad, or oh, that was actually amazing. But I do have a couple interesting items laying around this room, and I'll be talking about some of those as I go along. But first, we're going to start off on this big white bookshelf here that I got at a Goodwill for $2.50 with their 75% off sale. And that was actually one of the best furniture deals I've had in a long time. But my first thing I want to show you guys are my Sega Game Gear games. I don't have the system yet, but one thing I want to make note of is these CD cases I got at the Walmart by my house. They weren't all that expensive. I think it was like $6, $7 each, maybe if that. But they usually hold about like 30 CDs. But for what I'm using them for, you can make nice little rows out of them, or what I'm just doing, toss them in for the time being. And they go right back in. And they stack up nicely. I'm using it for the Game Gear games. I have another one that I'll show you in a second for my Atari 8-bit manuals, the ones that are not in binders already. A couple of PC strategy guides. One was for NASCAR Racing by Papyrus back in '94, and Doom 2. Also working on putting up some artwork a little bit from the boxed Atari games and other various video games. So you see Zaxxon there by Datasoft. That's going to be the cassette version of it, which I also have the cartridge version. And this is what I was telling you about. You can use these cases to start manuals and other booklets and everything nicely. And I know I just took that one out. I'm never going to get it back in again, but it's a very nice way to get things organized, even if it's going to be a temporarily organized item. Actually, that went back in better than I thought it was going to. But yeah, they stack up nicely. They're only a couple of bucks, and they're well worth the money. My top shelf here is going to show off a little bit of the Atari 2600 box games. Got Starship, Demons to Diamonds, Othello, and you may see two casino games. The difference is the first one is a special edition, at least that's what they claim it to be, and the normal, I guess you would say, normal edition of the game. I picked up these games for $2 and about $2.10 each. They were originally $2.50. The guy at the garage sale threw a couple extra in, no charge. But games like Centipede is that someone cut off the other side of it, so I'm only getting a 3-sided box for the most part. Someone taped off the other ones. Not the best shape in the world, but they'll do. You see on the left side of my second shelf a couple more other third-party Atari 2600 games. The really big boxes in front of you are going to be my Atari 8-bit computer cartridge system games. A couple of them at least. Missile Command and Centipede and Defender are cartridge-based. The Introduction to Programming 2 and 3 and Touch Typing are actually, I believe they're cassette games, or cassette programs. Followed by the smaller boxes are, I would just say the big one, the black ones are extra large, the silver ones are large. The XE games I would list as medium-sized, and then you got the small 8-bit cartridge boxes. A couple of games by Centipede. And one I really want to make note of is Movie Musical Madness. I'm going to show this one off a little bit real quick, because this one is complete. You got the green foam, the manual. The cartridge is already in my collection, so you're not going to be able to see that. But they do come with actual records, and in these cases, the records are flimsy vinyl. And they go right on your record machine. But pretty cool item. You got yourself a warranty card and another little catalog of different games that were coming out for the Atari 8-bit computers at that time. Time-Bound, Railroad Works, and Peanut Butter Panic, I believe was the other one. I picked this up at Digital Press, a local classic video gaming store down by me. I believe it was like $10. I mean, it wasn't a crazy amount or anything. Well worth the money. Cloudburst. A couple of the Thorn Emmy games. As you see, a couple more on the third shelf. You got some Nintendo games. A couple of Genesis games, including a couple of Maddens. No collection's ever complete without Madden. The next shelf down, the rest of my Genesis collection, the next cartridge. Final Fantasy IV Advance, complete in the box with all the manuals and catalogs and everything. And then some DS games. You see a Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle, Kingdom Hearts, Metroid, Scribblenauts. Scribblenauts is one of my favorite DS games because you can start writing weird stuff and have different reactions than what the program really wants you to do. Like you can write the word atheist and God and have the atheist's head explode because he freaks out because he's seeing God. I won't say some of the other ones because they're kind of offensive, but you can make people different things freak out because they're complete opposites and against their beliefs. My second from the bottom row is going to be my box controller section, actually, including the Atari 2600 CX40 controller, the CX30 paddle controllers, including the white boxes and the colored boxes. And a controller I grew up with my Atari XE system was QuickShot 1 by SVI. My father always used the gray XE controller, and I fell in love with using this QuickShot 1. And if you take a gander there, I have two of them. Gee, I wonder why. The bottom row is a couple of XE programs, SynCalc and Personal Policy Expert. That came in a deal that I got from a guy in Denver with a whole bunch of rare cartridges for $100 and something. Well worth the deal. Was not going to complain about getting those, and even though I have no idea what to really do with them, else I leave them on display. Moving along is my 4-shelf rack. This is where, when I'm done with my room, this is where all my video games are going to be. Right there in the middle on the top shelf is going to be my flat screen television, and then all the systems are going to go right around it. Don't have them all yet, not all displayed, not all the systems in my collection either. As I build, I'll work on that. On the top is going to be my Atari 2600, not that 2600, that 2600. That's the one I have operational at the moment. That's where my 5200 is going to be going. I'm getting that at the end of the week. So in the next week or two, you should see a pickup video for that. That's a Craigslist deal. My Atari 7800. Coming over here now is my Atari 400. And I left this area of my corner of my room blank. I think I'll just throw up another lamp in that corner. One of those little 4 lamps. Add a little bit more light to this room. I think it's needed. I don't know how well you can see that one. That's going to be my Atari 1200 XL. I don't have a box for it yet, but if anybody has like an empty box they're not doing anything with, send me a message. I can definitely use one for my collection, especially if you have the foam with it as well. My Atari 800 with my 810 disk drive and 850 interface. My Atari XE65 or 65XE. Those are my, right now for the time being, where my antiques books and my analog books are. All the magazines from the 1980s and early 90s for the Atari computer line. The Atari 1050 dual disc drive set with the dual density option on it. I have another one across the room that you'll see a little bit later on, is I guess the single density one. And the box from what I'll show you later, my centerpiece. I'll let you people look at that for a second, ponder what that is, and then I'll give you the story later on about that. Alright. This rack here will be from my PS1 and PS2 games. I know I said for a while I'm not going to get into CD-based games. I think that was kind of short-lived. I don't know how deep into CD-based games I'm going to get with my collection. But digging my room, in my basement, came across San Andreas for PS2. Like all the games I bought back in the day before I sold off my first group. Completely flawless, no scratches or anything. Then I have this setup going on for the time being, including my Sega Genesis Model 2, my Atari 2600A 4-switch wood grain, with my aftermarket controller being used at this time, my side-loading Nintendo, which, believe it or not, works without a problem. Doesn't give me a headache, doesn't give me an issue of any type. Thing of beauty, isn't it? When you can get one of these side loaders to work and you don't have to change out the pins or anything. My old 19-inch analog television. I love my old TV. And something I've had from a kid that I forgot I even had was a comic book system for the Nintendo. It's just a regular book. Let me pull that down here for a second. I'll show you guys. It's just a regular comic book, graphic novel type thing, I guess. There you got Link in there and the princess, and you know, I don't remember reading this whole thing ever as growing up. It looked like a heck of a lot more work than I really wanted to do, but I have it. I put it on display with my Nintendo for the time being until I get this whole setup figured out, and then we'll figure out what I'm going to do from there. And then you have my Abyss corner right now. It's just a cluster mess of everything going on. The stack you'll see right here, that's my trading, selling area. stuff I have going to the local NAVA meeting in Clifton. They have a whole bunch of gamers who come out. It's a retro gaming store. You can buy and sell and trade with other gamers. You can buy, sell, trade to the shop itself. And I have a whole bunch of Atari 2600 games in the box, loose with manuals, Genesis games, Atari 8-bit games, both cartridge and disc-based and cassette-based, and a couple other random items in there that's going to be going out. Next to it, that big white crate, that's just my flea market stuff that I'm buying and trading with them. And then on this bookshelf here, you got what I was talking about earlier. This looks like the single density 1050 disk drive with the Telestar Ranger that you've seen me move around about a half dozen times already. And then a couple of Atari demos and prototypes. This one is Legacy version 5.3 from Dan Oliver. I made a mention of picking this up through AtariH.com. At least that's what I posted about it. I picked it up from a guy who was selling it on eBay. There's a whole nice little story that I did and when I was discussing it online. Got to talk to Dan Oliver on AtariH about it. It was kind of fun talking to him. My RAM cram 32K. This is for the Atari 800. You would put a 10K ROM in, one 16K ROM, and then you put a RAM cram in and to max out a 48K RAM into your computer. Let's see, it doesn't actually, I don't know if it's going to zoom in enough. It actually tells you on there exactly how to set up the RAM into the computer, because you can't do more than 48K at a time. Let's see, this is my Computer War demo, not for resale. I got this on a deal through Craigslist. The guy had 12 or 13 games for sale for $40. I talked him down to $35 with shipping. This was the 13th cartridge I wasn't including in the picture. He only had a picture of 12 of them. So for this to be a demo and something you don't see every day, I'll definitely take that. Here's a couple of my Atari 8-bit cassette games. I picked this case up also at a Goodwill in Fairfield for $5, marked down to $3. Let's see, Call of Duty, a pack of cards it looks like. And this is just not doing me any justice here. This whole rack here. Hold on, let me just see if I can. I'm going to zoom out real quick. I'm going to turn on the light and flash the light towards that direction of the room. There we go. Now I can actually show you what I have. This is all my Atari 8-bit cartridges. I'm going to sit down here on this chair for a second so you guys get a better view. A lot of left cartridge toppers. The next row now is some of my aftermarket non-Atari brand ones. After that first row on the left, you got some Activision, CBS, Big 5. Let's see what else. You can see IDSI in the, looks like the fifth row. Some red left cartridge Magic toppers, Basic XC and Actions. A complete Parker Brothers US release. I'm still looking for Mr. Dew's Castle. That was from Canada. Haven't come across one yet, let alone one I can afford. The first 3 rows of this shelf is all Atari 8-bit games too. I'm topping out around 180 cartridges as of now. Some Atari 2600 games, including Video Pinball, and one of my personal favorites, Rescue Princess. It came out from AtariH.com back in 2013. Picked that up. Came with the manual. This week I'm picking up the box from Albert from AtariH. I don't know how well you can see at the bottom here. The first row on the left is more Atari 2600 games. Atari 5200 pole position. Atari 7800 pole position 2. This is the later version of label 1987. I call that version 3 because the first one that came out was with the system in 84. Then they have one with an 86 copyright label. That one's in 87. And then they have the picture label that came out a little bit after that. Some Nintendo games. With some Super Nintendo games next to that. And then in the corner, you can't see too well. N64 game on top of a couple of Genesis games. Oh, that's a mess. I'm going to have to fix that later. This is going to be my wall of handhelds. Like the Tiger handheld systems from the 80s. On top I have Head-to-Head, Talking Baseball. Then you have the Atari Touch Tablet CX77, complete in the box. That is an original receipt from Target from February 28th, 1985. For some gamers, that's probably even older than you. It's almost as old as I am. You got Electronic Bowling by Tiger. And I'm guessing on this rack, since there's 11 shelves and I can get about 2 of those on a shelf, I'll be able to put about 22 or 23 games in there, depending on how I want to do the setup on this. Between 22 and 33 handhelds I can shove on that rack. Picked that up at a garage flea market for $5. $5 seems to be the way to be on buying racks with me. Another Atari. This one's just an empty box with a 1050 disk drive. I've been trying to give this box away with the foam for $1 for a while. No one has an interest at all. Fine, I'll keep it. I'll take up a little bit of space so I find something better to put in. Panzer Dragoon for Sega Saturn. Hope to get one of those down the road. When I worked at the GameStop in my town, they were giving these away with the pre-order of Forza 2 for the 360. Here I swiped one. Since I'm from New Jersey, I went to the flea market, picked up a license plate from New Jersey. Makes it a little bit more nice of a presentation. The plate's from the 70s, so I should have got one that actually went with the whole Xbox 360 theme, but didn't think about it. The Q-tips are just cleaning aids for when I clean my cartridges up a little bit, the pins. The CX22 Atari trackball for the 2600, also compatible with the XE. The CX85 keypad, numeral keypad. This will just plug into like port controller port 2. You have the joystick in the first one, you put that in the second one. The earlier Type 1 Atari 410 cassette drive. And then I have a couple of the printer drives, printer interface connectors. That one's the Axum AT846 by Axum Corp. And then next to that we have Graphics AT by XE-Tech. We got the Koala pad that goes with the Koala cartridge for the Atari 8-bit. They also make another one for the Commodore 64. The mighty Atari 1027 letter printer. And then the Atari 1025 printer. I'm working on getting myself an Atari 825 because I haven't... Actually, you know, I have all these 1000 series printers. I have no 800 series printers as of yet, but we're working on that. Aftermarket Sega Genesis controller. And a whole Game Boy Color satchel carrying case, the Game Boy Color. Throw a couple of games in, a couple of packs of batteries, you'll be good to go. The air conditioner makes a heck of a lot of noise when I do my videos. I apologize, but that's the animal that's making all the noise. My budget calendar. My PC games on the top row. My Atari XE game cases, game cartridge cases below that. My pickup video from here over, those are my finds for the week, plus a couple of Genesis games that you've already kind of seen but haven't quite seen. Picture of the girlfriend. My spare computer with a list of different thrift shops. The ones on the right are all the thrift shops in New Jersey I want to go visit. The ones on the left, if I ever make my way out to Ohio where Ed T is, I have a list of thrift shops I'm going to go hit up. Maybe I'll message Ed T when I'm ready to come out that way. Maybe he'll want to meet up, go to a couple of flea markets. My computer, monitor, webcam, all the tools and tricks of the trade to get cartridges open, fixed, working, etc., etc., etc. My copy machine hasn't been used in quite some time, but moving down, you have my Atari 600 XL and the 800 XL. Now you know why I'm looking for my 1200 XL box. My original Atari XEGS that I got when I was 4 years old back in 1987. My cable box and I am a New Jersey EMT, so I always proudly display that whenever I get the opportunity. My Super Nintendo with Super Mario World. That is the big 47-inch flat screen television that I'm using to play my video games and watch TV as well. This LG particularly is a very good TV for video games. I really enjoy it a lot. Moving right along, my new coffee table, which I love because it has the 6 slots at the bottom, and I'm using in practically one cubby hole. For each cubby hole I have a nice little storage bin with little hefty bags to put the controls in so they don't get dusty and dirty and grimy and a mess. And I have 6 slots. The top row, as I have it all planned out, is going to be my Atari, my Nintendo, my Genesis. In the bottom row, what I'm going to do once I get a couple more bins, it's going to be, let me think, PlayStation, my Xbox, and then when I'm going to take that one, my Atari part bin, I'm going to put it at the far end of it. That's going to be my miscellaneous parts for my Atari 2600, 7800, possibly just on Nintendo and PlayStation, whatever doesn't work and needs a spot. Needs a home for all the spare parts. That's what I'll be using it for. And finally, my centerpiece. Now, I got this from a guy on AtariAge.com, Chas10E. I believe he got it at a garage sale or flea market. Someone gave it to him because whatever. And he didn't know what to do with it, but he thought it was cool, and instead of them throwing it out, he said, what the heck, I'll pick it up. What it is an Alex Tech telephone system. This was highly used, or not highly used, but it was used in Canada from 1988 to 1994, before, this was like the preemptive age of the internet and telephone, through the corporate world. And when the system was discontinued in 94, these things became obsolete, and to the right side of this unit, there should be like a little hook for a telephone and a telephone hook to it. This one doesn't have it. But it has a full functioning keyboard, full functioning telephone keypad, a couple of functions, control unit, phone button to, I guess, go between typing messages on the message boards and using the telephone. But I plugged it in, tested it out. It seems to work nicely. Since it's obsolete, it's not going to hook up to anything. If you look at the back, it has 2 phone ports in the back, and a power plug, and a power switch. And that's about it for my game room, guys. It's come a long way. It's not done yet. Still working on it. I still gotta get the gift wrapping paper off the wall, but if you guys noticed, I've pretty much Got rid of the paper towels for the most part, so you don't have to see those in my videos. Oh yeah, one more thing. First of all, the head I got for 25 cents. I'll let you people just ponder why I would have something like that. Part of what I was talking to you guys about earlier was my manuals. This is my binder that holds out all my Atari 2600 manuals for the different various video games. This one is my Atari 8-bit video game checklist. As I get a game, I just cross it off the list. And for label variations, I have another list that I just highlight each game and variation that I have, which is nice. Another one, this one is my Atari 8-bit large manual collection. These are the ones that came in those big black boxes earlier that I showed you. A couple of system manuals. My Atari 600 manual, my Atari 800 computer manuals, the 1010 program recorder, the printed manuals, disk drive manuals, Atari catalogs, always nice to hold on to your manuals and things of that nature. A few more. These are the medium-sized ones, like the 1030 pocket modem, DOS 3 operating manual, and some of the video games that came along with the system back in the day. So, the ones that did not make it into the bin on the top, this is where they ultimately are going to end up. I'm trying to think if there's any more in here I really need to show you. I think that's about it. But once again, this is the Atari 8-bit Game Hunter, as seen on TV, or in this case, as seen on YouTube. And I'll show you this real quick, because this is what I'm going to be bringing down to the NAVA convention, if you guys are going to be around, this Saturday, the 31st of August. It's located at Digital Press, 387, Route 46, going eastbound in Clifton, New Jersey, from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. They do a whole bunch of things, swap meets, arcade tournaments, gaming tournaments. It's a lot of fun. It's free to get in, free for the tournaments, no cash or anything you have to put up. Only thing you need to pay for is any video games you want to buy. And if you bring stuff like I will this weekend, you can probably trade and I have to pay even for the games you want to buy. I just make it up with my price list, what I'm looking for, where I am on YouTube, and when I'm walking around the store and people want to buy something or ask me a question, they know where to find me. Whatever you can make it easier for people to find you, the better off you'll be. But that'll be it for today as far as the game room video. I still have to get around to doing the gaming moment back in time video. So either I'll knock that out today or tomorrow, probably tonight, before I get to my girlfriend's house, otherwise she'll kick my rear end all the way around the block. But that's about it. This is Jason, the Atari 8-bit Game Hunter, signing out. Feel free to subscribe, like, share the video, all that good stuff. Have a good day, guys.